I'm Renee Knorr, model, creative director, founder of Global Women Wealth Warriors, Wellness Hub, and GW3 magazine. I dedicated my life and devoted my career into helping women and girls to achieving their goals. I've been passionate about empowering women and enriching men. This opportunity in working with the Global Women Wealth Warriors have afforded me the pleasure of traveling outside of the country to be a support unit, most importantly, to help impact and change lives. Our ultimate purpose is to help others to become whole from finance, spiritual, mental, as well as physical. We know there are challenges and obstacles to get you to the next level. However, it's time for you to level up, boss up, and welcome to Power to Soar.
Well, we want to say hello to you, yes, and especially you. We want to welcome you to Voices, the talk show, where we bring the conversation from the clubhouse all the way into your house. And this show is sponsored by and curated by none other than Miss Renee Knorr. She is the founder and the creator of the GW3 Global Club and the Global Women Wealth Warriors Club on Clubhouse. Our members are passionate about positively impacting the lives of women and girls while also enriching men to reach an abundance lifestyle, a lifestyle gained through financial literacy, learning new currency, and maintaining healthy eating for wellness. Renee is a global keynote speaker. She's an award-winning international Ebby Fashion Fair model. She is a marathon runner. She is a keynote speaker. She is an award-winning golfer, along with too many other awards and accolades for me to mention in the time frame of this program. So look, I want you to go ahead and put those hands together, put some emojis, and clap those mics on Clubhouse for the woman herself, the legend, the intelligent mentor, my friend, the beautiful one, none other than Renee Knorr.
I love you, Pastor Jeff. How are you doing today, my friend? You're looking great.
Well, thank you, Renee. You are looking super fantastic yourself. Look like you're about to sing with the angels. And so I'm just glad to be here with you today.
Oh, I love it. You know, Pastor Jeff, it has been an incredible week, and I am looking so forward to seeing you sooner than soon for the Power to Soar Leadership Conference. And, you know, we have had some incredible individuals that we are looking forward to seeing as well. This is like our reunion. Oh, my goodness,
Absolutely.
It's our reunion. What'd you say, Pastor Jeff?
I said, absolutely. I can't wait. Can you believe the year has gone by already, Renee?
I know. You know, I was speaking to Amira Brown, and she's like, it's a year already. I'm like, yes. We saw her in New Orleans for the Essence Music Festival. And she's like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. But that means we have been extremely productive for the
Yes.
year 2022. You know, when time can go by like that and you don't miss it, it's just like, man. But I know one thing, as we get wiser, we keep on just feeling, it seems as if our time is going away from us. It seems like when we were kids, we had way more time on our hands.
It
Not
seemed
now.
like that. And you know,
Yeah.
the thing is, Renee, can you believe that this year so far, I mean, you have been to Dubai, you have been to Paris, you've been to London, you've been to Africa, you've been to New York, you've been to Chicago, you've been out to New Orleans, and you're getting ready to go back to Chicago. You barely have time to be in Atlanta. I mean, that you don't even have time to unpack your bags. You tell everybody to keep their bags packed.
I
You don't even get
know.
time to unpack them.
You are so true about that. You're so true. Literally, I had to reach out to the maid. I'm like, you're gonna have to unpack the bags because literally they just stay packed now. You know, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for when we sought out in 2021 to not only set these big visions, but to also be very intentional about connecting with our not only our warriors, but also our new warriors across the world. 22 different city tours. That's what we're on, a 22 city tour. And my goodness, it hasn't been always easy, but one of the things is it's been so fulfilling. And that's the biggest joy that I have. And I'm looking so forward to meeting so many of our leaders right there in Chicago. We're planning to go to Canada. And I think, you know what? I need my own jet.
You
Oh
need
my
your own
God.
jet, Renee. Yes, you do. And look, let's
Oh,
not forget, Renee, this is the fifth annual Power to Soar, but this is the first year for the men. And I am excited about the men. And I think we've been showing up.
oh, you guys have been doing more than showing up. You know, this is not only a special fifth year, this is like that milestone with the whole process, but my goodness, I'm looking so forward to the men that's totally almost like dominating this time. And I'm going to make sure we push all of those gents out there. We even got Jeff, the entrepreneur, that's going to be joining us. Of course, the man himself, Glenn Lundy. But let's talk about this guy here that we get ready to welcome. My goodness.
Absolutely.
When you think about the whole power to soar, take flight, he takes it to a whole nother meaning and he makes it into reality as well. You know, I've had the opportunity of hearing his voice right there on the clubhouse. And something about him, not only did it move me, it allowed me to really get connected with him even more. You know, I truly appreciate when a man is passionate about their work, but one of the greatest things I go and look for, how close you are to your family, how
That's
close
important.
you are to God. And this man right here, he's kind of special. I'm telling you right now, he's not only special, he's been living over there in Carolina. I'm sorry, I said Carolina, over there in California.
California.
That's right, California, baby.
No.
Over there in California, and he has been doing some of the incredible ways of not only bridging the gap, helping those, whether they have personal injury or just really business entrepreneurs. He's been laying down the foundation. He's been helping so many of not only men, women, but also families to really get a hold of that whole legal aspect. We are grateful to have the man himself, Mr. Frederick Penney, that's going to be joining us. Not only we're grateful to have Frederick Penney joining us, we're looking so forward to learning about him and his career, as well as his family. He's a happily married man. He has beautiful children, and I'm so excited to have the soon-to-be author right here in the house with us, Mr. Frederick Penney. Woo! Come on here,
Absolutely.
Mr. Frederick Penney.
There we go. Hey, how are
Hello.
you? Wow.
Hello. My goodness. Don't you just love technology sometimes, Frederick?
I wish I could add hair to me. Technology.
Well, you know what?
Well,
Be careful what
you and I
ask for.
both.
Be careful what you ask for. Someone heard it. So you know what? Next time we do this, it's going to have somebody adding hair to technology as well. How are you doing today, my friend?
Wonderful, wonderful. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Good. Oh, things are great. California's warm. We were talking about this early on. It's warm, but I think we're going to survive the fires and all the dry grass and but we're used to that in California. We're used to the warmth and we're used to the dryness. But other than that, life's great. Can't complain, right?
So is it really true what they say? It never rains in Southern California?
It rains there. I've been there where it's rained, but it's not that often.
Yes.
Not that often.
Well, yeah, well, I know the last time I visited California, it was in San Francisco, and truly love the space there. Something about the whole vitamin D, it works totally different in California. My skin always glows when I'm in California. And
Yep.
I mean, I'm long overdue for a trip out there as well.
Come visit me. Yes, it's interesting before we get into the little chit-chatting. So during the coronavirus, we had some real, you got to make sure you stay healthy. And I live on a place where I have 36 or 46, I can't remember, mandarin trees. And I loved it. So I got to eat mandarins during the coronavirus. I pounded those California oranges, and sat out and got my vitamin D. And I don't know what happened, but it worked out pretty good for me. I did okay. I scathed it, right?
Yeah, you definitely did. And I'll say this also, even from our Power to Soil Leadership Conference last year, we had a little bit of a scare within our group, but overall, everyone was able to overcome it. So I'm happy to hear that for you as well as for your family as well. Now, you are a huge man, not only in business, with the Penney and Associates law firm. I want to know, how did this journey even get started, Frederick?
Good question, Renee, and thank you for asking me that, because I love the global women wealth warriors. I love that, and I'm going to step back and tell you a little bit about the women in my life really quick.
Okay.
So I grew up, and the people who built who I am, and I think where I've become, I know is the women in my life, and the women were my mother and my two grandmothers, and then my wife, right? And so I grew up on a small town, little tiny farm. We didn't have much money. My dad worked for the state of California. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. This is back in the 60s, right? When that was not unusual, right? And she did everything she could to help raise us four boys the best that she could. But what was interesting in these women in my life, my grandmother would never, and that's my mom's mom, allow me to give excuses for failing. As bizarre as I found, I thought she was harsh, but there was no excuse for failing. My other grandmother on my dad's side's it's all American Indian, Chippewa. We're all, believe it or not, everyone's like, you look at my red skin, we're a Chippewa Indian. And my dad grew up in a very rough circumstance with my grandma that as a single mom had to raise these children. And she went through some rough times, and to watch her, persevere and make it through raising children on her own was an inspiration to me. But they never would allow me to use excuses. I used to play basketball. I always say this, tell the story. And when I played basketball, I'd come home and my one Grandma Davis, would say, "How did you do?" "We lost." "Well, why did you lose?" "Because they were better than us." "Why are they better than you?" And then she would do no excuses. And finally, as she'd always say this at the end, "Freddie, if you want to be the president of the United States, go be the president of the United States. Nothing's stopping you." And that attitude, I was raised with my mother and my grandmothers. And that was a very profound effect on my life. So when it came time to grind, and when people told me I couldn't do it because I'm a little country boy, it didn't bother me one bit. I just kept going. And so that was how it all started. And it started in this little town, right? And then after that, it just started to grow. My dad said, and we didn't make much money, right? It was we weren't like farmers. He worked for the state, but we didn't have much money, and we grew our own, garden. So we had extra money to raise these four boys. And my dad said, "Look, son, all I know is at the end of the day, there's powerful lawyers doing really well. You need to go to law school." And I didn't want to. And so I followed my older brother, who, by the way, is a judge in California now. And I followed him, and I said, "I'm going to be a lawyer." And that's how it all started. And I just went, and we struggled to make it ourselves, to pay for our own school, and it didn't bother us to struggle. I was used to struggling. It had no effect on me to struggle because that's the way life was. Quick story. I love stories. I hope, Renee, you like to hear my stories.
I love hearing you speak. You know I do.
Yeah. So as I build this practice, and I'm going to jump ahead, I have an accountant that is our in-house tax accountant. And he grew up with me as a little boy. We started in 5th grade. We got to know each other, and he handles our finances. And as we came out of a big business, I will never forget him walking out, and it was a bad situation. And he was not happy, and he's a very calm type of person and doesn't say much. And I remember him saying a derogatory thing. He put his head down and said, "Trailer trash." That's what he did. He kept walking. And I stopped him. I said, "Hey, you grew up in a trailer. We're single wide trailer people." He goes, "You're right." I said, "You got to remember where we're from. You were that way. That's us. That's who we were." And so you never forget that, right? And he got upset at that type of person, but you don't forget where you came from. We grew up very poor. I mean, my friend, he had and now he helps run my businesses. So my point is it doesn't matter where you come from. There's nothing to stop you to succeed. Nothing. And that's been my mantra from day one. Day one.
You know, I love how you said your mother, your grandmother alongside, they were the ones that gave you that foundation, that solid foundation. And I always would tell a young lady, if you're dating a man, see how they treat their mother first. See the relationship that they have with their mothers or their grandparents. And you just really shared with us how important it is to have that, you know, within the harmony. And you know what? I also appreciate the fact that there's no excuses. It doesn't matter. You know, most of us don't even realize those who have reached their full success, meaning being successful on the other side, all have come from zero. So it's not about the money at all. But I love the fact that your parents definitely poured love into you. So therefore you can keep on loving others as well because you love yourself.
Yeah, a little bit of tough love too, huh, Renee? A little bit of tough.
Oh, you already know. Back in the day, whoo! I don't know about you, but I used to get whippings, okay? And I don't mean like, oh no, go get me a switch.
Yeah.
A switch or a belt. So we really had some tough love, and we had different disciplines than what the kids have today. They get away with murder these days.
My dad, Renee, it was a funny thing. My dad always gave us the option. You can go to church if you want, happy or sad. It's up to you. You got the option. And you don't have to go to church. And I still remember the day when I was a young kid, I said, I'm not going to go. He goes, "You don't have to go to church today." And my mom would be the one that would take us to church every Sunday. And my brothers was like, "Don't do it." I said, "No, I'm not going to church." Sure enough, as soon as they walked away to church around 9 o'clock, my dad grabbed his little hat and says, "Let's go out and work out in the fields, in the ranch." And I worked till probably 9 o'clock at night. I worked like 12 hours straight. I never missed church after that.
I grew up with the church family as well. Mom was a Jehovah's Witness, right?
Yeah.
So not only was my mother Jehovah's Witness, my dad would definitely support her no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, we're reading the Bible. And I really appreciate, back then, of course, we didn't understand the foundation of what Mom was really laying down for us.
Right.
But today, I really appreciate it because I used to always say, "Mom, can you tell me what I should do?" "Well, let's see what the Bible says." I'm like, "Mom, I don't want to see what the Bible says. Can you just tell me what would you think?" No, she would always take me to the Bible. And what she was really doing at that point in time is laying down, showing me how through the Spirit of God, everything is possible. And of course, that was something that I had to learn, and still till today, Frederick, we do everything by God. You know, after we even closed the rooms with the Global Women World Warriors, we always pray. And that's something that helps us to get through. We got to have that faith. Faith is so important.
Yeah, and be tolerant of other people's beliefs. I've always been that way. I believe we have to be tolerant of other people's beliefs. Everyone is trying to get to God and become. I'm not going to get religious here, but everyone's trying to get there some way, right? And we just need to be tolerant, love all in that way. But that's kind of how it all started, Renee. And then what? Let me just really quickly tell you what happened. So as I started as I became a lawyer, I wanted to start my own practice, right? And everybody says you can't start your own practice because you're too young. You don't know what you're doing. And there was a large national law firm that that I knew one of the managers out here near Sacramento, California. And I said, I want to start my own law firm. And will you send me your crummy cases that you don't want? As in crummy, like they're probably not going to win the case, right? And so that's how it all started. And I went out on my own within 6 months of passing my bar, which is crazy. You just don't do that. But I had a good mentor, my older brother, that helped teach me how to be a good trial lawyer because he was at the time working in the district attorney's office. And then I started trying cases and started my practice 30 years ago. And it just started booming. I lost some cases, but I started winning and got on the news, and then it just built from there. And then I decided I'm going to start hiring the lawyers out of the insurance industry. And that's how it all started. But as that built, here's the most important thing I learned in life that I want people to understand. First of all, we're all on different rungs on the ladder. People always say, Fred, you don't understand it. You're already there. No, I do understand it. I've been there at the beginning. And as I started to build the practice and make some money, this is where people fail. They see the money coming in and they spend it. So I had the mantra of the three most important words I've learned. And I learned that from my grandmas, right? And my mom. That is resist, resist, resist. Those are the three most important words in your business practice. If you learn those three words, you can become successful. What do I mean by resist, resist, resist? Once you start making some money, and it doesn't matter if it's a lot or a little bit or huge amounts, you need to make sure that you use that money to invest in other things. So as I started making money, my friends were buying Ferraris, Lamborghinis, big houses. I had a family with 4 children, and I lived in a approximately 1,900 square foot home. Very humble, nothing fancy, lower middle income, and yet I could have done well, right? I lived in that home for 10 years and took my money and invested it and bought companies and bought properties and stayed in that humble home that I paid off. And that's what helps build wealth. That's what does it. You have to resist, resist, resist. Even today, I still think about that mantra. No matter where you are on the rung, those 3 words, Renee, if you learn those words, you're going to be successful.
I love that. And congratulations to Grandma for giving you those words of encouragement, as well as resist, resist, resist. Don't forget that, Pastor Jeff. Resist, resist, resist. I want to ask this question to you. Yeah, I want to ask this question to you, because through your journey, you come from a small hometown. It was like, only 600, no more than that in the family, 603, approximately somewhere in there. When you have less people there, how do you identify with mentors? I want to know, what are some of the books you read? Because I know that it could probably help to, build that the character that you have within you. But maybe what are some of the books that you use to help you to pull your way through? And who have been some of your mentors that you admire still till today?
Great question. First of all, it wasn't books, it was people. I believe in people as mentors. I do read books, don't get me wrong, and I know I've got a book coming out called, the Golden Goose. And by the way, Mark Victor Hansen, the author of Chicken Soup of the Soul, is endorsing it and helping me with the book. And he's going to be involved with me. And we're excited for that to come out in the next few months. But it was people, good old-fashioned, hardworking people, Americans. It doesn't matter who they are, what race they were, what ethnicity or the money. Nobody cared, and nobody knew what each other had financially. No, I guess we all didn't know we were poor. I guess I'm not talking poor where we couldn't feed ourselves, but poor where at the end of the month we don't have a lot of money. And so that's what we learned. And those hardworking people are the ones that I looked up to. And still to this day, some of them are still alive that still don't have a lot of money, but they're hardworking people. And that's how I do it. I just would outwork everybody. Renee, I remember I was at a high school. I spoke at a high school. It was a very poor high school. And I was talking to the seniors and trying to help them out. And a boy raised his hand and said something to this effect. And I don't remember the exact words, but it was something to the effect of, "Why, Mr. Penney, have you become successful, yet my father hasn't?" I mean, kind of and what do you say? What do you say to that? And I remember thinking, going, oh my gosh, I better be careful. And I said, I don't really know your father and I don't understand his situation, but just maybe I got off the ground more times than he did. And that's what it's about, getting off the ground more times than the next person. Because no matter where you are on the rung or no matter what's going on, Renee or Pastor Jeff, we're getting off the ground all the time. And it's just getting up that next time, Renee and Pastor Jeff, we just got to keep getting up. And to this day, I still know I'm getting off the ground. It doesn't matter where you are in life.
I want to know, what is your superpower? What is your superpower?
So I truly believe in a greater power, and I truly believe that God helps those who help themselves. And I believe that, like I said early on, I believe you have to have a strong faith, no matter what it is. I think you have to have a strong mentors, like you said, whether it's your wife, your spouse, your friends, your family, your neighborhood, your church. Whatever they are, you need to be around those people. I've heard a number of business people say, well, you need to be tough. You need to be around people that are going to criticize you. No, I don't agree with that. You need to be around the positive people. PMA is what I always say, positive mental attitude. You have to have a PMA. And negative people will just drag you down. And I don't like the negativity. And yes, it's good to have constructive criticism. I'm okay with that. But there's a difference between that and negativity. And I surround myself, Pastor Jeff and Renee, with positive people, PMA. And a lot of times staff, it drives them crazy, or anyone that comes in, especially new people, they warn them, they'll say this, well, we have a problem. I said, no, we don't. We have a challenge. What's our challenge? We don't have problems in lives. We only have challenges. And let's learn, Renee and Pastor Jeff, how to overcome those challenges and move forward, because they're not going to stop. Not until the day we die. They're still not going to stop. And that's the way I've always looked at things. And to this day, I'm still challenged, right? But people don't know it. They just don't know it. I just keep going forward. Tenacity. It's about tenacity. And I hate to say this too, but not hate, but a lot of people say, let's get rich quick. And I'm okay with that. But the majority of the time you don't. It's taken me 30 some odd years to get where I am. And it's okay to take time to build, right? It's okay. And that's what it's about. And that's about your being the jet setter, and my superpower is just to be able to understand that it takes tenacity, and there's no problems in life. We just have challenges, and that's my superpower. That's my superpower.
Absolutely love that. Just hearing you, in regarding to your journey, as well as your story, and then also the relationship that you have with your family, it's just so remarkable. I want to ask this question because a lot of people don't really understand, as we are talking to some of you all as our amazing achievers in life. We always just see the I would say the pretty side, but we don't really see, the grit that you have to go through, the grind. Have you ever been in the wrong place at the right time?
Someone asked me the other day something similar to that, Renee. They asked me, what would I change in my life? And I'm going to twist that question a little bit. What would I change in my life if I could change anything? The answer is nothing. Because if I'm in the wrong place, I believe that when doors close, there's a reason they close, and they open for another reason. And I can think of something that I'm not going to bring up the details of, but where a door closed, that it was just an absolute tragedy. Well, not I thought it was, and it opened a bigger door. Well, I'll bring it up. I have never been fired, but there's 2 law firms that didn't want to hire me young. I was the one that was not chosen to be hired out of the other attorneys, right? And the other attorneys were wonderful people. And it knocked me down. I'm not saying depression, but I was crushed. And guess what? Guess what happened, Renee or Pastor Jeff, if I would have taken that firm and I was the one hired and I worked for that firm? My law firm, how big it is and what I've succeeded in, would not have happened, right? It would not have built. And I would have probably been working at another firm. And so I wouldn't have been able to invest in other businesses, which I've done. And I think my path would have been completely different, right? So I'm okay with everything happens for a reason. And when doors close, people panic. I said, it's okay. Just go to another door.
Mm-hmm.
It'll work. Yeah.
I like to look at that also. I was, you remember the movie The Matrix, and doing the scene with Neo, he had the key maker with him, right? And the key maker is like, and Neo's like, oh my God, like the door closed. He's like, it's okay. There's always another door. There's always another way. And that's great that you looked at it that way, because you're absolutely correct. Sometimes the doors need to close in order for you to truly utilize all what you're supposed to do in the first place. Sometimes we hold on to things too long. That's not really there for us anyways.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I said, yeah, I agree with that. Another thing that's important on that same note, I want to mention is make sure that you don't listen to the naysayers, the negative people that are going to knock you down. No matter what happens, people say negative things about other people, and I don't like that. And that's okay. That you have to build yourself up from that. But what it comes down to is don't let it knock you down. And too many people think that once they get knocked down or people say negative things. I just met with my partner yesterday on another business deal we're doing, and I said, stop being negative. And he's, well, I'm just pointing out some things that might go wrong. That's okay. We're going to make it happen right. And so whatever you do, don't let those negative thoughts or those negative people influence you in building. Because you know what, Renee? They said I would never make it. Everyone said, you're not going to make it. You're a brand new lawyer. You can't build this firm. You got to wait 10 years and learn. No, I did it. And it doesn't stop me to this day. And that's what you have to remember. Everybody has to remember is don't let the negative naysayers, even to this day or whatever it is, knock you down. Keep pushing. That's what I've always done. And really quick on the marketing part, I get criticized all the time, right? Renee, I have a new jet. I have a Phenom 300. I love my jet. I use it. It's got my name on the tail, right? It's got my name on the tail, and people criticize me for that. But that's okay, Renee. I market. I know how to market, and I'm going to market my name. And when I market my name, my businesses, everything flows from that, right? Yes. But a lot of people have negative connotations of it. In fact, I just had someone the other day online, said some really negative things. I'm like, okay, whatever, that's your opinion, but don't let that knock you down or stop you from being successful.
Yeah, well, one of the things we know for sure with negative people, what they always say, hurt people are going to hurt people, because that's all they're used to. And you realize you have more viewers for all the negativity things that's happening as opposed to positive things. But one of the greatest things I love about what you have to say, sometimes it's not their business anyways to even interfere with how you're thinking about things. I love what you're doing. We love what you're doing. So you keep on doing it, and not only do it even bigger than what you were doing before, because that's the key. Your personality is attracting everything you desire right now. And that's the thing. Sometimes people can't really people can't understand everybody's personality. And your personality resonated with so many other souls. That's all that matters. And, one of the greatest things, you talk about your family. I'm a family girl. My mom come from 15 brothers and sisters. And when I know, right, hard to believe. And I'm holding on to my one daughter, Frederick, just one daughter. But you talked about your 4 beautiful children. And I know, spending quality time with your family means everything to you. Where have been some of your favorite places that you've traveled to with your family?
Sure, and that's a great question. So, first of all, I'm a little bit different than most. You'll look at my social media. I very rarely put my family there, and I'm a little different than others because I'm a lawyer. And as a lawyer, you worry about, there are a few out there that you worry about, people. So I don't push them out there too much because that's kind of more of my private side. But they are there and they build me. In fact, my brother, my son, and my son-in-law are both lawyers at our firm. My son-in-law, which I love, Sione Taki Taki. I'm going to throw it out there. He's Polynesian. He's our Tongan son-in-law that we love, and our daughter loves him, and he plays for the Cleveland Browns. And we just, all those kids are the most important thing to me, right? But I try to, and I also look. I have a son, Michael, so I don't want to forget Michael too, right? And my daughter Ashley. But they're important to us. But it's our family time together. We get together. We try not to let people know where we are, and we'll just go there and we'll be together as a family. We do talk business all the time. I'll be honest with you. We talk business a lot, but the quality time with the kids, the grandkids, is the most important thing to me. Where I live on acreage. Believe it or not, I live near the city. but I live on acreage. And I have a couple different places I have, and I sit on a swing. I have 2 swings. One swing, I've made some of the biggest decisions, multi-million-dollar decisions in my life on those swings. Out by my orchard, I pick the fruit. I've got apple trees, and I got peach trees. I've got, my mandarin trees. And that's where I've made some of my biggest decisions. And with sometimes a grandkid on my lap, right? That's what's most important. Because it all comes down to really, none of this matters because it's family in the end, right? On your epitaph at the end, you only have so much you can write on your epitaph, right? And it's not going to say Fred Penney was one of the greatest lawyers and had a phenomenal law firm. It's going to be about the family, right? And that's what's important, Renee. And you coming from that size of a family, my wife comes from 7. She has a lot of siblings too, and I love having family. But a lot of them are in the business. A lot of them are following the business. My daughter, and you're going to meet my daughter. I'm bringing my daughter with to the Global Women Wealth Warriors. She's going to come, and she's a phenomenal power woman. She's 25. She's a realtor, and she helps NFL wives. She's one of out there. She's one of the NFL wives, and she's a super woman. And she's excited to meet you, by the way, Renee. She's looked you up. She goes, I want to meet Renee. And so she's excited.
Well, I cannot wait to meet her as well. And guess what? My daughter's going to be with us as well, Frederick. So she'll get an opportunity of also meeting Janae. Oh my God, this is going to be amazing. I'm looking so forward to it.
Yeah.
Now, as you said, you have such an amazing life. You've definitely been able to accomplish with so much. And one of the greatest things that we are looking forward to you becoming this amazing author as well. Now we talk about the Goose, just imagining the possibilities. Give us a little bit insight in regard to what should we be expecting from this amazing new book that you have coming out.
Thank you so much. It's called The Goose, and it started with the Golden Goose, but my publishers want to call it The Goose, and it's going to take us to the Collins family. The Collins family are a fictitious family that basically mirrored myself. And Mr. Collins is mirrored after me, but we've laid it out in a really interesting story. And it starts out with me at age 75. By the way, I'm 59, so I'm not there yet. So I'm at 75 years old, and they're holding my 75th birthday party. And that's how it starts. And then book 2, there's 3 books. And then book 2 slides back to when I was a child. But it's the Collins, Mr. Collins. And it's really fun and exciting, and it's a great read. It's all done. We're just finalizing the little details and where we're going to do the launch. We're doing all that, working on that. But it's going to be a really interesting, fictitious Collins family that really is me and my family and how I grew up. And it's kind of cool.
No, I love it. You're just a genius. I'm telling you, you're a genius. Okay. Yes, just
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
What'd you say?
It's gonna be fun.
I know. It sounds like it's going to be, and I cannot wait. I mean, your personality is just incredible, and I know for sure it's just going to come through the read of the book, and I cannot wait to see it. I love the cover. I truly adore the color concept, that whole gold and black with a little bit of white. So congratulations, and we cannot wait to be a part of that read as well. Because, with our book club, with the Global Women Wealth Warriors, we are always reading. Right now, we're reading The Law of Attraction. Just finished reading Think and Grow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and those books have been so transformative, transformation for each and every last one of us. And sometimes it's okay to read the book over and over and over again. And I think that's one of the true things about, with repetition anyways, you really can, understand it. And I appreciate all the value there within itself, I want to ask this last question, because I want to know, have you ever been on a quest that you were striving for and you were not able to really reap the full benefits of it? I want to know that, because
Sure.
You have been that person that seems as if you just know exactly what you want, but sometimes on that other side, you can't reach it. And, that's just something we love to know from your journey. Please share.
That's a great question. And here's the answer to that. This is awesome. I'm glad you brought that question up. We haven't reached it yet because we're not gone from the earth. It never ends. And for someone to say, and when people go, I just didn't reach my goal. We're not done. Your goal, look at Colonel Sanders for Kentucky Fried Chicken. Read his history. He didn't become financially successful until I believe his 60s. And so, no, it's not done. I've never had something I say I'd never have made it yet, because doesn't mean I didn't fail at businesses, but I don't call them failures. I call them the life lessons, right? It doesn't mean that it didn't go as I expected it. That happens, but I don't see that as a negative. I see that as building, right? I've learned from those lessons, and that helped me build these other companies, these other businesses, right? I'm really into radio. I have Radio Law Talk, which is now, I believe, the second largest radio show, talk show in the United States that has to do with law. We are like over 100 affiliates, maybe 115. I haven't looked lately, and it's nationwide. Well, guess what? You know, it's not ending. I came up with a dream. I'm going to have a radio show about law, and it's kind of funny and entertaining. And guess what? Has it made it? No, we're not there yet. Have I made it my law practice? No, I'm not there yet. I'm not there on anything. And it never ends. And that's the way I see it. And I see it as never failing, but using that as an opportunity to build other things and open other doors. And that's how I see it. And that's why I do the PMA, the positive mental attitude. I just don't look at it as a failure.
I love that. Oh my goodness. I truly love that. You know, and we are just looking forward to continuously speaking with you, even more so with Pastor Jeff. But you know what? Thank you, Frederick, for just being so authentic, and then just being the genius that you are. That's why I call you genius. You are very much so a dear man that we're looking forward to meeting. Pastor Jeff, I know for sure you're going to forward to Frederick. Please share.
Absolutely. Frederick, I agree with you that positive mental attitude. And, you know, I believe that life does not happen to us. It happens through us. You know, your namesake, Mr. Frederick Douglass, once said it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Now, there happens to be a series of paperbacks about your hometown, Penryn, called the Penryn Boys. And in that, it's a story of the summer of 1973. There's a 13-year-old character named Fred Nichols. Would that happen to be you, Fred?
That was me. That was a book that I wrote a long time ago that actually has 2 more coming out, but I haven't had it come out yet. Yes, that was me.
All right. So you're about to become the author for the second time. So that's wonderful. And so you have already shared the story of how influential the women in your life were both your grandmothers and your mom. And so you are the epitome of that. So it's easier to build a strong children. Now, the other part of it is the challenge, as you would say, and that is to repair broken men. And in the work that you do, what would your advice be to those broken men who may be listening or watching this program, as you have come in contact with a lot of broken men?
So, again, this is an individual in the 1980s sat me down one time and gave me this advice. And this was back in the 70s. And you can change it how you want to say it as an individual. But this person looked at me and said, marry a solution, not a problem. And to be honest with you, it's not only necessarily marry, but hang out with a solution or be with the solution, not the problem. So the women in your life that you need to surround yourself are people that are positive, that are going to buoy you and lift you, and you're going to lift them too. And so to the men, I say, marry a solution, not a problem, and be with the women that are a solution, not a problem. And you also help them become the solution, not the problem. And then you build as a team. Whether, I'm saying spouse, not even if it's a woman or a man, it's your spouse or whoever your significant other is. That person can build you up or that person can knock you down. My wife is a wonderful example of one that builds me, that helps me, that is quiet behind the scenes, which, by the way, nobody knows this. I'm going to say it right here, Renee. She's on the board of directors of a very successful company, but she's very quiet about it. She's a power woman. She's a power businesswoman, but she's different than I am. I'm more out there. She doesn't like that. And that's her personality. But surround yourself with great women and you can succeed. Men, it's that simple. It's not rocket science. Not rocket science.
That was very good advice, Frederick. Now, you mentioned those three words: resist, resist, resist. And you shared with us how I would say you live below your means so that you could invest and build a legacy. And with that, in that resist part, you've not taken the path that most attorneys taken to get to where you're at. You jumped right out there into creating your own law firm just shortly out of getting passing the bar. You also invested in a company. You talked about those fast cars. So tell us a little bit about how you got into Comtech and the big fast engines that actually have won races in the Indianapolis 500.
Thank you. So yes, what I believe is five. I believe in the word five. What is that? There's another thing about. So out of five businesses you invest in, first of all, I've learned one thing. You invest in people first, businesses second. Because you can have the best business in the world. If you don't have the right people, it's going to fail or it's going to flounder. If you have an average business or a business that's not great, but you have phenomenal people, it's going to succeed. But out of five businesses, technically two are going to fail. Statistically, two are going to fail. But those two are going to buoy and build up the three. An example is a racing company. So I started a racing company, 25 years ago. We sold it in 2019, by the way. Called Penney Racing Supply, where I supplied and bought a company that we build race cars in the West Coast. There wasn't very many places that had the parts. We did that. I bought Comtech Race Engines, which in 2001 won the Indy 500, which with Juan Pablo Montoya, and they Comtech Race Engines tuned and took care of Ganassi's engines, or those engines. And then I bought up some other businesses, all dealing with racing. Why did I do that? I marketed my name. I marketed my name through racing. People always say, "Oh, you don't make money on that." You're right. I didn't make a lot of money, but guess what? It built the practice and the name. People don't know this. Penney & Associates is just the California division. We have Penney, Galbraith, Elder, Brannon. That's the national firm because we're in 46 states. Penney & Associates is the California division. So that helped build my brand because I believe in branding your name first. Renee's name is more important than anything. More than any business that she has, Renee builds her name first. And then after that, it all flows down to your business. And so that's why I built the name Frederick Penney. Some people look at us as, oh, that's being arrogant by building your name. No, that's your marketing tool. Build your name first and everything flows. Because if you have a business and you build that, right, Pastor Jeff, and you sell it, it's gone. But your name is never gone. And so that's what I did with Comtech, PRS, all these racing industries, racetracks around the West Coast, and race engines had my name on it. And to this day, people in the racing industry still know who I am. They still come to me, even though we sold it in 2019. So it's not just that, it's everything. Radio, I've invested in radio companies. There's a lot of ways to build your name and brand. And that's how I do it with racing or any type of industry you can think of. And that's how I got into racing.
That was ingenious, and I hope our listeners are taking notes of the resist, 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 and then the five businesses. Frederick, you talked about the book, The Goose, that's Frederick at 75 years of age, and you brought up the subject of the epitaph. And so Miles Monroe, the late, great Miles Monroe, suggested that we ought to leave this world empty. My question for you is, as you reflect at that time in your life, in the future, what is it that you would want your children and your grandchildren to say about Frederick W. Penney?
Yeah, it's all about love. I think Renee's put it best. Love is the most important thing. Like our country, and I don't get political. I stay politically neutral because I represent all facets. But I think if we just love and we care for one another and we're tolerant of one another, things will be so much easier on us, right? And it is tough for me as a lawyer because I sue people for a living, and it's difficult for me sometimes because people are like, "Oh, you sued our company or whatever." That's what we do, unfortunately. And I believe I'm helping out those that are in need. But on the epitaph, it's all about the family. That's all that really matters. God and family. Obviously, you're going to meet your maker. And what I believe about helping people, I'm a little bit different than others. Yes, you do some outwardly, but I like to help people without them knowing it. And I love the fact when people don't know that you help them, right? I always tell a story about a family. This was probably 15 years ago that we were helping out, and they didn't know it financially. And I can't remember coming around a corner, and they were talking about me and my family negatively, about how we were well-to-do, and they had no idea we were the ones financially helping them. And my wife, I remember saying, I was happy. As bizarre as that sounds, that made me happy that they had no idea we were helping them. And so that's what I think you need to do in life a lot of times. Help people without them knowing. The little things. The tip to the lady who is working hard and is a single mom, you help. The small things. Give them something. Even if you don't have a lot. You don't have to have a lot. Help other people out. Be positive. We have a luxury suite at the Golden One Center in the Kings Arena. And this is not a pat, but this is what I love doing. And the people who were with us last night, we went to a concert, didn't understand why I was pulling into In-N-Out Burger. I'm buying 25 to 30 burgers because as I walk in the arena and the staff is sitting there checking us in, they're working hard. I hand them all, they all get burgers. And I get in trouble sometimes for that, but you can do simple things like that. It's not a pat on my back. It's just, you could just help other people in simple, small ways. That's what I think life's about, right? You don't have to go be grandiose and be the big sponsor. You can do it in small ways. And if you do that, I think that's your legacy, right? That people don't know when you pass away how many people you've helped, right?
Absolutely. And I love that concept of being able to assist and help those. And the only person that they can give credit to is to somehow higher source. Of course, for me, it's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. As a retired military serviceman who spent 20 years active duty, another 18 years as a contractor, my wife served 28 years active duty. And so I've spent over half of my life, and with my son in the National Guard, our family has given over 50 years of service to this country. And so I want to first of all say thank you for the Marine in your family, Mr. Frederick Ernest Penney Jr., and thank you for his service in the Korean War. And I'd like to know, what is his influence on who you are today?
Great. Thank you, Pastor Jeff, because when you were saying that, I didn't know you were going to bring up my father, and that's why I bring up the women, my mom, my grandmas, because they were a little more behind the scenes, and I think they didn't get the recognition they deserved, and they truly did deserve it. But my father is a war hero, in all honesty, one who fought in the Korean War, went to the Korean War when he was 17, lied about his age, because my father at 14 was on the streets. He grew up on the streets. He had a mother that was struggling, and went to the Korean War and fought in conflict, and just had really been through some tough times, and never, ever told us until right before he passed away, with tears in his eyes, the tough man, the Marine tattoos, that would just bawl about how tragic the war was and what he had to go through. It would be nothing that you'd even imagine what he went through. And yet here he is, raising boys, because we were 4 boys, raising a family, working hard, and just trying to live the American dream. And I love him and appreciate him for that. And he was tough on us. Pastor Jeff, he was tough. And we had the mom that was the sweet, loving, perfect saint in the world, my mother. Yet you had the tough man that really didn't let us slack at all, and that helped build me too. So, and a lot of people don't have the good father and mother in their life, and I understand that, but a good mother is going to help too, right? But that's what I love my dad for, and I appreciate him. I appreciate him for being tough. You know what he used to say, Pastor Jeff, that a lot of people don't understand, and it's really difficult. I told my son this the other day. The difficult thing is, he goes, I'm a parent first, I'm your friend second. That is the hardest thing to do, is to be a parent first, a friend second, because we want so badly to be our best friend of our kids, yet they need the stability and the discipline in some ways. And that's why it was hard. I look back now and how he disciplined me and when I needed the discipline, and it was the greatest thing in the world for me. He was my parent first, my friend second, and that's what I wish everybody would understand.
Frederick, it has absolutely been, as Les Brown would say, a plum-pleasing pleasure. You have been inspiring, uplifting, and informative. Can't wait to meet you in Atlanta in a few days. And I'm going to pass the mic right back to the beautiful one herself, Miss Renee Knorr.
Frederick, my goodness. Pastor Jeff, both you guys, incredible opportunity of not only getting to know you better, Frederick, but just letting you know how much we truly appreciate you. And yes, you are so deserving of this Lifetime Achievement Award that you will be receiving in Atlanta.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your family. Thank you for your spirituality. But most importantly, thank you for the love that you have for yourself and for God. And we're looking so forward to meeting you in Atlanta, Georgia. Would you like to close out with words of wisdom as we're closing out this segment?
Sure, I'd love to. First of all, thank you, Renee, for everything you've done for me, because you've stepped it up to help me. And I love to look at you and I watch you from a distance. And my daughter is going to learn about you and she's going to look up to you. And I'm excited about that. But look, the most important thing, like I said, is your family and God. It comes down to whoever you follow, whoever your God is. It's important to look at that and follow that. But help others, you know, and you know, sometimes it's hard because, you know, then I'll get, once I see this, get responses that, hey, I need help. Everyone needs help. There's only so much you can help, but do the best you can to help others in small ways. And you know what? Go out there and be successful. As a successful person told me one time, if I wasn't successful, I'm not able to take time to go out and help others, right? So push, be successful. There's nothing wrong with that. Positive mental attitude, go get it. You can win.
Absolutely love it. Guys, there you have it. The one and only Mr. Frederick Penney. Thank you so very much for this amazing exclusive interview. And we are looking forward to seeing you in Atlanta, Georgia for the Power to Soar Leadership Conference. Thank you again for joining us for Voices, the talk show. I am Renee Knorr. This has been Pastor Jeff, and of course, the man himself for the hour, Mr. Frederick Penney. Thank you guys for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again Mondays, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Farewell for now.